That is our focus on the program today. But we will begin with highlights of happenings in the diary of the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development. I am Gabriel Ojile. Stay with us for the details.
The road to shared mining prosperity. We must ensure that we do not do it in a way that harms our health or our environment. Artisanal mining and the life to enjoy the wealth from it is possible if we put in place the proper preventive measures and provide the right equipment. No country should have to pay for its economic prosperity and development with the lives and well-being of its people.
In today's diary, Minister of Mines and Steel Development tasks MCO on improved mineral title administration processes. In other news, Adegbite expresses satisfaction with Min Diver initiatives.
The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Architect Olamilekan Adegbite, has urged the management and staff of the Mining Cadastre Office to work towards increasing the number of title holders in the country through quality service delivery in administering title applications. He gave the charge during a working visit to the agency recently. The minister wondered why there was a drop in the number of title applications at a time when the government was banking on the sector to achieve its diversification agenda.
I think by July this year, July ending, you had 1,025. And I think in 2016, the total application receipt was 2,800. Why is interest? Are we having lower interest in mining? Now the government is putting a lot of emphasis. This administration wants to use mining as the diversification of the economy. They want to use it to generate employment for our people. So why is interest application dropping? These are some of the things we need to check. And then what do we do about it? Are we not telling people more about mining? So why is application dropping? That's very important. We need to look at that.
Adegbite urged the agency to do more in awareness creation and easing the process of title administration in the country. Reacting, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Abdulkadir Muazu, tasked the MCO to be vigilant and ensure the sanitization of the licensing system as promoting the sector depends on it.
He believes that the beginning of promoting the sector to contribute to GDP would be the efficiency, transparency of the licensing system. So I will urge you to be vigilant, because the minister is committed to ensuring that our licensing system is sanitized, is transparent, and that people should not hold licenses without using them.
Speaking earlier, Director General of the Cadastre Office, Engineer Simon Nkom, gave the assurance that the agency shall be transparent in its activities in order to make the system attractive enough for investors. He added that the agency has revoked about 1,566 inactive mining licenses in line with its use it or lose it policy. High point of the visit was a tour of the agency's facilities by the minister and members of his team.
Payment to TSA, you bring in the receipt here.
The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Architect Olamilekan Adegbite, has commended the mineral sector support for economic diversification Min Diver project team for the work done so far in a bid to help the country move away from dependency on oil. Speaking during a working visit to the Min Diver office in Abuja, Adegbite thanked the project's coordinator and his team for striving to uphold excellence in their efforts towards helping to achieve the diversification mandate of government.
And I could begin to see some of that, especially the project that's going on with artisanal miners. I want to be able to bring in artisanal miners, organize them formally, train them in safer methods, and encourage more people to participate in that in a safer way. While at the same time, with the operations that you guys are supporting in Mining Cadastre Office, in the NGSA, to attract the big players into the system.
Main Diver Projects Coordinator Linus Adie said the office operates in all the technical departments and agencies of the ministry, noting that it is only a facilitator for the growth of the sector.
Agency. We are developing a modern geodata center, and this geodata center will capture almost all colonial reports that were produced in Nigeria from 1903 till 1960, and all the will digitize all the reports that NGSA and the firm in Kaduna, whatever they are producing, we are going to digitize them, put them in a format that can be accessed easily. We are advancing formalization, which you have just seen, skill building for employment and sustainable livelihood.
The visit included a tour of some facilities and components of the Main Diver project, such as the geoinformation system and remote sensing units set up to keep tabs of artisanal mining activities in the country.
You are watching Mining in Nigeria, a program that brings you details of happenings in the Nigerian mining community. Today, our focus is on the Nigerian Mining Week. How did it start? What has been achieved? What has it added to our mining sector? These are more questions answered on the issues. Stay tuned.
Or the mining industry as a key driver.
The Nigeria Mining Week has held consecutively for 4 years, bringing mining industry players, policy makers, investors, and the finance sector all under the same roof to brainstorm, network, and chart a course for the solid minerals sector in Nigeria.
We want to assure you of fruitful and rewarding sessions within the week to guarantee that participation will never be in vain. Therefore, expect robust discussions.
Since inception in 2016, though merely as a side attraction to the IPAD conference at the time, the Mining Week has continued to grow in number and impact, now attracting visitors from more than 30 countries around the world. But how exactly did the journey begin?
Immediate past president of the association. Having been in saddle for a while, having been attending so many international events outside, and having known that Nigeria also is a mining, reimagined mining nation, it thought it fit that there should be a forum that Nigeria can also organize, can also invite people from international jurisdiction to come and see what is happening in Nigeria, what's our endowments, and how these endowments can be turned around to creation of wealth.
The economic diversification drive of the President Buhari administration and the desire of the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development to pursue that drive gave the organizers the needed push and support. PricewaterhouseCoopers, IPAD and Spintelligent have remained partners of the Miners Association of Nigeria and the ministry in organizing the Mining Week in the last 4 years.
Prior to the Mining Week, I think on 2 occasions, they have organized IPAD Nigeria Mining and Quarrying Forum. So we now thought it fit that since these people have this kind of knowledge of organizing international events, we should leverage on that experience and bring in the local contents. So the matchmaking was done by PwC, and it brought about the first Mining Week.
Since 2016, a lot of changes and innovations have been witnessed, all in a bid to make the Mining Week much more impactful and to achieve the objectives for which it was established.
We have the mentorship program. It did not feature in the first and the second edition. I think the third, it featured, which is just to look for some, let me say, juniors in the industry, because we don't have majors yet in Nigeria. We look for some juniors who are actually know have a big mining concept, and we organize some of the artisanal, those upcoming miners, so that we attach some of them who actually come forth for this mentorship program. We attach them to the mentors. We call them mentees. Apart from the first meeting they have here, they are in constant touch with the mentors and constant touch with the mentees, just to guide them, to give them the tutelage on how they can go about their mining operations.
The interaction and personal touch developed over the years have been major highlights of the event. Other additions include pre-technical workshops, discussion roundtables, Dragon's Den for project pitching and financing opportunities, mentorship program, and matchmaking meetings. Perhaps the most exciting part of the Mining Week is the opportunity given to businesses to exhibit their products and services to would-be buyers and clients.
Coming in as a manpower developer and doing capacity building training, sensitization projects to kind of help bridge the gap between the artisanal miners as well as the regulatories of the industry.
Rapid Link is about mining. We are involved in mining, exploration. And if you are talking about Mining Week, it's about mining, showcasing what you do and what you can also offer and what you have done. So that is exactly what we are showcasing.
It's been a great opportunity. It's been I'm actually extremely impressed because we've done a few exhibitions and, sometimes it's still coming up. You can see we're striding in the right direction and we have some teething problems. So I'm sure by the time we organize the next one, it will improve, and it will only keep getting better as you do it. So the main focus is that it started and we should keep going.
Several themes have been treated since inception to address the numerous challenges in the sector and build necessary capacity and collaborations towards returning Nigeria to the map of mining nations of the world. These themes include the mining industry as a tool for industrialization 2017, enabling and promoting global mining practices through good governance and resource mobilization 2018, and lifting the roadblocks along the value chain, setting the mining industry as a key driver for economic growth 2019. The coming of a new leadership at the ministry resulted in uncertainty regarding sustaining the momentum of the Mining Week. To the delight of all, Nigeria witnessed perhaps the biggest and best mining week yet in 2019.
We want to assure all prospective investors.
The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Architect Olamilekan Adegbite, while declaring the event open, gave the assurance that the ministry will continue to support the Mining Week and all other activities geared towards the sector's growth.
We want to assure all prospective investors that we are willing to cooperate and give them the necessary backing to thrive in this economy. The roadmap for the growth and development of the Nigerian mining industry provides a broad pathway for a transformation of the industry. This is a roadmap that had the involvement of all stakeholders, and we intend to stick to this path, making tiny adjustments along the way.
This was also reiterated by the Minister of State during his closing remarks on the second day of the conference.
From the point of the ministry, be assured that we are there to receive the necessary support for you to succeed. Your success is our success, because we want to make you to succeed. In every area, we must ensure that you succeed.
With participation and attention increasing, states across Nigeria are showing more interest in taking advantage of the platform to sell their mineral wealth. The presence of the governors of Kebbi and Nasarawa states, representatives of the governments of Oyo, Yobe and Ondo, as well as states taking up exhibition stands are proof of their resolve.
I think it is essential for people to know that we have, like I said, we have billions in the ground in Oyo State that is not explored and is not exploited. So the sooner, the better for us. And I just met quite a number of guys that are from Oyo State, and they are mining in Jos, they are mining in Zamfara, and they're excited. So you see what we're going to get back home in a short while.
The platform has been an opportunity for us to exhibit some of the minerals potentials that we have, like as I've earlier mentioned, and then to interact with investors. And also we have a mining development company, that's KMDC. We have acquired some state-owned licenses.
The previous 3 editions of Mining Week, Yobe State has always featured. And in any appearance, we always create a stand and meet customers, investors, and people that have interest in mining activities. We have already developed some linkages, and it is because we have seen the successes recorded gradually in the past.
The academia is another group that has been heavily involved in the Mining Week since 2016. As a policy, the ministry has continually engaged those who formed part of the steering committee towards the development of the roadmap.
The federal government has no mining industry. The federal government, under the law, cannot set up any mining company. It is all the investments are to be domiciled in the states, and that is important. But at the same time, the state governments have to realize that the mining cycle is different from electoral and political cycle. Political cycles are short, 4 years, 8 years maximum. An average mining cycle, the lowest of the mining cycle for profitability for any meaningful investment is at least 10 years to about 50 years. So when you look, we're talking about sustainability of the industry. We have to think wide.
After 4 years, there are success stories owing to the discussions and resolutions reached at sessions of the Mining Week. From the remodeling and digitization of Nigeria's cadastral system to government's investment in mineral exploration, there are tangibles to take from the initiative.
Our destination is to be captured in the international annual mining calendar, global mining calendar. You will agree with me that the awareness, the zeal and participation from the stakeholders within the mining ecosystem has greatly increased.
You could see display of heavy-duty equipment. To mobilize that equipment to this place and display cost money. But it's because there's a potential. No investor will do that without having made sales and having a foresight. It's the first mining week. There was literally no woman beyond those of us from the women from the ministry and my secretary and a few of us, about 2 or 3. We were like aliens. But today, if you look at it, we have Kian Smith has always been there. You understand? Kian Smith is making giant leaps, even beyond what the men thought of. You understand? We have Emerson came up, apart from Ajia, who has always been the only one there. But we have Emerson to come up even in a sophisticated manner.
Perhaps the biggest victory for the industry in the last 4 years is the emergence of junior miners like Thor Exploration, owners of the Segilola Gold Project, Kian Smith building a gold refinery in Ogun State and reorganizing the artisanal gold industry, and Kogi Iron, looking to create a value chain for Nigeria's steel industry.
Our project is in Osun State, about 140 kilometers northeast of Lagos. We have a very solid base case. We have a proven reserves of about 400,000 ounces. We have a total resource going over 800,000 ounces. We're hoping in the next year to break 1 million ounces. It's a very high-grade deposit. It grades at about 4.2 grams per ton in the reserve, 4.7 grams per ton in the resource.
The difficulty really is what will make central banks of the world buy your gold. So what we've had to do, we spent about, we'll show the timeline, about a year so far. The first thing we did about this time last year was September, actually. This time last year, we first started engaging the artisanal suppliers, operators, dealers.
We have the relevant development approvals for the mine, and we're planning on converting that resource to a reserve, and in doing a reserve, you're obviously doing a mine plan and the economics of the mine plan. We have used the iron ore, local coal, and local limestone and produced steel in South Africa.
With such glaring results and a resolve to establish the Mining Week as a force to be reckoned with in the global mining ecosystem, it is hoped that the vision quickly translates to reality to the benefit of all Nigerians.
Attention is now focused on the 2020 Nigerian Mining Week, with assurances from the minister that it will be bigger and better. Until then, we can only savor the moments and keep tabs with the implementation of the communique. Mining news from around the world is next as we bring you global mining tidbits.
Chile's mining minister has said that mines across the country, both state-owned and privately owned, are operating normally despite the riots that have been taking place in Santiago and other cities this past week. Most mining operations are located in the northern part of the country and far away from major towns. Chile is the world's top producer of copper, with output expected to exceed 6 million tons for the first time this year and continue to rise by 30% over the next 10 years. The riots have been protests against economic inequalities, living costs, and rising debts. Rio Tinto is studying ways to extract lithium from waste rock at the mine it controls in California. This makes it the latest company trying to produce the battery metal in the United States for the fast-growing electric vehicle markets. The move by Rio comes as U.S. politicians and regulators push to expand domestic mining of so-called strategic minerals used to make electric vehicle batteries and other high-tech equipment. China is the world's largest producer and consumer of many of these minerals. Orla Mining has secured a $125 million project finance facility to develop its first mine in Mexico. Orla aims to start construction at the Camino Rojo Oxide Gold Project in the first half of 2020, paving the way for the first gold production in mid-2021. Feasibility study estimates that the Camino Rojo Gold Project will produce an average of 97,000 ounces of gold yearly and 511,000 ounces of silver yearly over a period of 6.8 years.
The new target of the ministry is to increase the sector's contribution to the nation's GDP to 5% by 2025. Recall that there has been an increase of over 300% in the last 4 years, from 0.3% in 2015 to about 1% in the second quarter of 2019. A lot more can be done, and all hands are on deck to make that vision a reality. Get interested, get involved. Stay tuned same time next week as Mining in Nigeria continues to bring you the strides being made in the solid mineral sector. Bye for now.
Right thickness. That's what Total Aluminium gives you.
No matter the size of your project, Total Aluminium gives you the specifications that suit your needs. From long-span aluminium roof and cladding sheets, step tiles, stone chip coated and Metcopo roof tiles, all these are working for one purpose. And with the newly acquired technology, Total Aluminium ensures your structure gets the roofing that would stand the test of time. Come rain, come shine. Total Aluminium Systems Limited.
They offer you efficient customer service.
Well, fast with public term. He get a term inter plus lumefantrine. Pop. Public term, pop.
Oral suspension for children, tablet for adults.
Oya make you waka for malaria. They make you younger with Public Term. Public Term get Artemether plus lumefantrine to help you waka from malaria side. Public Term they available for pharmacies near you.
Public Term get NAFDAC approval. The number now P40202.
Public Term, na product of Publix Pharmaceuticals Nigeria Limited, part of Publix Healthcare UK Limited. Publix Pharmaceuticals Nigeria Limited. Good health for your domot. If symptoms persist after 3 days.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA National on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Just injuries. The importance of safety devices in a motor car cannot be overemphasized when purchasing a car. Therefore, it is advised to thoroughly check for those devices before purchasing a car.
President is doing very well, improve the well-being of our nation, and we know Russia will cooperate and do the best for Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari back in Abuja after a successful outing at the first ever Russia-Africa Summit and Economic Fora in Sochi. As more organizations defend budget at National Assembly, Intelligence Agency, and educational parastatals take their turn at the two chambers. Federal High Court in Abuja remands former chairman of the Pension Reforms Tax Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, in correctional custody.
Stakeholders to monitor the distribution of these items so that they would go to the right local government, and even when they go to the right local government and the right beneficiaries in the right quantities.
Plus, federal government distribute farm inputs as support to victims of 2018 flood disaster in Kebbi State. It's a beautiful Friday evening. Thanks for joining us on the news. I am Jumba Yusuf. Jennifer Igwe is in Lagos and Dibabre Sidoma is in Port Harcourt. It's a pleasure to have you join us. We begin with President Muhammadu Buhari, who is back in Abuja, the nation's capital, after a very successful outing at the first ever Russia-Africa Summit and Economic Fora in Sochi. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that several investment deals were secured and high-level commitments critical to the economic well-being of the country extracted.
President Muhammadu Buhari, accompanied to the Russian Federation by the governors of Ekiti, Gombe and Zamfara states, arrived Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at 5:30 Friday evening. On hand to receive him were his Chief of Staff Abba Kyari, Minister of the FCT Muhammad Musa Bello, Inspector General of Police Muhammad Adamu, Director General of the Department of State Services Yusuf Magaji Bichi, and other senior government officials. Meanwhile, some members of his delegation to the Russian Federation have been speaking on Nigeria's major takeaways from the European nation.
This is one trip that has probably achieved more than any trip that the president has been lately. If you look at the range of issues that
Mr. President discussed with President Putin on nuclear energy, on Ajaokuta steel, on the military cooperation agreement, on the railway. You could see that it covered a broad range of areas. And what's most impressive to me is that the Russians have also agreed that for many of these things, it would be a government-to-government partnership.
It's been a particularly rewarding visit for the petroleum sector. I have always said that Russia has a lot of know-how and technology that Nigeria can benefit from. We have the natural resources that Russia can benefit from. And on this visit, we've made a lot of progress with the Russians. We have signed with Lukoil. Lukoil is coming to Nigeria big time. Lukoil is quite a big company. They have a production of 2.3 million barrels as a company, which is a little bit more than what Nigeria produces today. So you know what that means for us. We had very fruitful meetings with Gazprom, and we also had meetings with some financiers. So I believe that in the end, we are taking a lot home, and this is going to really be good for our relations with Russia.
The most important that we're taking away from here is the fact that Ajaokuta will work. So it gladdens my heart. That's something that we can do. And of course, the Russians were the original builders of Ajaokuta. And after so many years, we've come back to them, and we have a firm promise, especially from the president of the Russian Federation, that Russia is willing to come in, and of course Ajaokuta will work before Mr. President completes this second term.
You know, steel is a bedrock of industrial development, and once we are able to bring back Ajaokuta on stream, I think Nigeria will spring up, and the sky will be the limit. Our president is doing very well, improve the well-being of our nation, and we know Russia will cooperate and do the best for Nigeria.
The visit to the Russian Federation was the first by President Muhammadu Buhari since coming to power in 2015. Adam Musambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has described as welcoming and worthy of support the genuine efforts by Zamfara state government to restore sanity and the desired impetus in the exploitation as well as exploration of the abundant solid mineral potential in the state for enhanced security and socio-economic development. This was while exchanging views with Governor Bello Mohamed Matawali and representatives of the African Export-Import Bank on the sidelines of the Russia-Africa Summit in Sochi. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
When I came here, we have been having meetings with so many investors that will come to invest in Zamfara State in terms of solid minerals development.
This meeting was aimed at bringing President Muhammadu Buhari up to speed regarding the governor's fruitful engagements with prospective Russian investors alongside officials of Afreximbank. Zamfara State government had recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the bank to support efforts at turning the state into a major hub of solid minerals in Nigeria.
We had met with the Zamfara State and entered into a memorandum of understanding to invest up to $1 billion to help monetize the large deposits of solid minerals, and based on that, work with some of the major mining companies so that we can rapidly begin to actualize the plans we and the state government have for solid minerals development in the state.
Records show that between 1914 to 1955, about 150,000 ounces of gold were produced across the several mining fields in Zamfara State, and at the moment, there are 500 exploration titles covering various surface areas. President Muhammadu Buhari described their Russian engagements in furtherance of the renewed drive to effectively harness the state's investment potentials as delightful and a worthwhile undertaking worthy of the desired support by his administration, as explained by the Afreximbank chief.
He responded very positively because he saw that as an opportunity to boost jobs, to generate foreign exchange, and also to improve the income of the people. That will no doubt help reduce the insecurity that pervades our society today.
And there is an understanding that the federal government will establish mineral resource sales centers in Zamfara State, which the price of minerals can be controlled through my state, which we are very happy with this initiative of Mr. President.
Apart from Zamfara State, Governor Mohammed Inuwa Yahya of Gombe State also had fruitful engagements in the Russian Federation.
I've been able to establish contacts and relationships that will enable us to set up some medium and small scale industries that will help the society, in picking up and engaging our youth, and especially by way of establishing an industrial park which will be able to help in springing up medium and small scale industries that will absorb the youth out of the streets in Nigeria.
Before leaving the Black Sea resort city of Sochi, President Muhammadu Buhari played host to his Guinean counterpart, Alpha Conde, but details of their discussions were not made public. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Still on the Russia-Africa summit, Nigerians at home and in the diaspora have been reassured of the federal government's resolve to do everything within the limits of the law to support, protect and encourage them to prosper in the pursuit of their legitimate means of livelihood. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at a meeting with leaders of the Nigerian community in the Russian Federation on the sidelines of the Russia-Africa summit in Sochi. Again, Adamu Sambo has the details.
They came from far and wide to catch a glimpse of the Nigerian leader, get updated on the situation at home, and show appreciation for his genuine efforts at dismantling obstacles to national development and indeed taking the country to the next level.
On behalf of the Nigerian community, we appreciate your effort even to build this relationship by coming to Russia because of the concern you have for our nation.
We know the importance of friendship to Russians. When you are a friend to Russia, they can die for you. What you are doing in Nigeria, it is doable. Other countries have passed through it.
And we would like to thank Mr. President for breaking a record, because it's his government that have ever paid Nigerian students their stipend complete whole year. So we really want to appreciate it.
Flanked by the governors of Gombe and Zamfara states, the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, as well as the Nigerian ambassador to Russia, President Buhari, takes pride in the notable achievements by the diaspora community in various fields of endeavors. The government, he said, truly appreciates their huge potential in accelerating development, saying, however, that this can only be achieved if they put Nigeria first in everything they do.
You, as the face of our country and the world, would judge our nation based on your conduct and character. In whatever legitimate engagement you find yourself, you must strive to excel and be the best. You must not forget home. You are some of our best and brilliant brains, and your resources, skills, and talents can positively impact Nigeria.
The president used the opportunity to brief his guests on the reforms being implemented in critical sectors of the Nigerian economy to make life better for all.
We focus on key import substitution program, especially in agriculture and manufacturing, to create jobs for our youth so they can earn a decent and honest living. We also introduce our social investment programs that target some of the most vulnerable citizens and communities. We are already seeing results, and we shall continue to push forward. This is a long journey, and I am confident that in the long run, our efforts will positively impact Nigerians.
President Buhari described as logical Nigeria's renewed partnership with the Russian Federation in view of the many similarities they share. He said Russia, like Nigeria, is pushing an economic diversification agenda that will reduce its reliance on oil and gas by focusing on key job-creating sectors.
The diversification agenda focuses on manufacturing, solid minerals development, and agriculture. Coincidentally, these are also the areas our government has been developing in the past 4 years. We intend to collaborate in areas of oil and gas, agriculture, and solid minerals development. Many of you are aware of the massive Ajaokuta steel plant, the most tangible symbol of this relationship.
The governing APC, he said, is also making steady progress and delivering results in fighting corruption and securing the country for a sustainable future. From Sochi, Russia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Back home, Nigeria is set to join the global trend of manufacturing cars powered by electricity if plans by the National Automotive Design and Development Council goes well. Director General of the Council, Jelani Aliu, unveiled the plan at this year's Commerce and Industry Correspondents Association of Nigeria Conference in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
Wheels powered by electricity have already hit the roads in Abuja and running. This, by implication, means Nigeria is not left behind in the global trend of putting ideas on wheels using electricity. To ensure sustainability, the National Automotive Design and Development Council, in collaboration with investors in the automotive industry, have identified Usmanu Danfodio University Sokoto, University of Nigeria Nsukka, and the University of Lagos as pilot institutions to provide technical support.
The pilot program that we're doing with the universities, we're also at the procurement stage for those vehicles to come in. So once that is done and we have gotten the necessary approvals, because we have to get that approval from the relevant authorities, we'll bring in these vehicles. But there are already companies in Nigeria who have proposals to assemble or build electric vehicles in the country.
By concentrating on exports drives, concentrating on skills development and acquisition.
As a way of setting agenda for government in exploring sustainable streams of revenue, the Commerce and Industry Correspondent Forum unveiled a compendium on industry, trade and investment, detailing ways of diversifying the nation's non-oil sector. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
In the meantime, efforts by the Muhammadu Buhari administration at ensuring economic recovery of the nation has recorded another positive with the latest ranking in the 2019 Ease of Doing Business Index by the World Bank. Nigeria moved up 15 places on the global index from 146 to 131. Apart from the country's consistent rise on the index since 2016, Nigeria also made top 10 most improved economies this year, making it for the second time in a row. I am now joined by Ogbonna Okoku, an investment analyst, to speak to this giant stride by Nigeria. I hear that the president is very excited. And what do you make of this steady rise in the ease of doing business?
Of course, it's a good thing that have just happened, and it goes to show that when you provide leadership, which every other person will follow. And then when you put people in positions and then expect them, give them, targets and deliverables, they will work towards achieving that. Because this is an important aspect of our economy. Because you cannot drive investment without removing bottlenecks around people who want to come and do business in your country. I put it this way: investors are like water. They move to areas of least resistance. So if you create bottlenecks, it makes it difficult for them to want to come and do business in your country. So that's exactly what I think has happened, and this growth will continue because there's this determination I see from the president and his team to make sure that we get up there.
So this ranking is an annual thing. It just sort of looks at reforms in the economic sector. Lagos and Kano are the states used as a case study determining this index. What are the lessons inherent for other states across the country?
Yeah, it goes to show that every state in Nigeria, for you to be viable, there are certain things you must make happen. Investors go after three things, which is underlined with a denominator. The first thing is they're always resource seeking. They seek for either natural resources or human resources. They seek for markets, so the population is good, but they have to have the capacity to purchase whatever you have. And again, strategic assets, just like 2005, a company, Indorama, came to Nigeria, bought over LMA Petrochemicals, and they were just worth less than $200-300 million. Today they are worth $15 billion just because they took over a strategic asset in our country. So like I said, something is the underlying factor will now be efficiency in your system. Now, every work you do comes back to that issue, because with that improper fraction, it cancels out whatever it is that you have in natural resources, whatever thing you have in your country without efficiency. Look at a country like Singapore, for example. They're always second in the ranking after New Zealand. Now, Singapore, if you take Jurong Island, I did a little study on Jurong Island. Jurong Island is just a small island in Singapore with an investment of over $90 billion, all in carbon around that place. The closest is a 630-kilometer pipeline from Indonesia. So which means that there are things that you can't do. If the environment is efficient, people would look away from resources that you have and want to come and do business with you.
So it's quite a giant leap. So how can Nigeria leverage on this rise to make it steady?
The reforms will continue, just like the president has set a target for himself, and then also to his, set a target for his team. He wants us to be number 70 by the year 2023. So everybody, all hands must be on deck to make sure that we achieve this. I say this, investment promotion is not a white-collar job. It's a job that you need to bulldoze, because there are things that are already instituted within us. People don't want to change. People don't like to change, so you have to force them to change to make sure that they adhere to strict reforms, things that the government is turning out that will make our environment a better place for people to do business.
So I think it's a good development for Nigeria, and moving forward, I think we'll achieve much more than that. Thank you so much, Obone Okoku, an economic analyst, investment analyst, for coming on Network News tonight. It's been a pleasure hosting you.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah.
This is the Network News on the NTA. Let's pause for some messages. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Papa Scholastic, now what is it? Emeka, drive the limousine Bugatti, come inside now.
Just recharge 200 naira for 1 day, and you say fit follow win for the hundreds and hundreds of heavy prizes like a can of pepper, industrial sewing machine, grinding machine, and generator. Glow, my own done better.
My grinder will go win. Now here I go put up. Make
Hey, make una no go recharge una Glow. I don't win generator, and here now myself. Oh,
the more you recharge, the more your chance, the better.
Unlimited. The Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, APCON, in partnership with Brandmark Communication, presents the second Nigeria Public Sector Branding Summit and Exhibition. Theme: Shaping the Future of Public Sector Marketing and Communications in Nigeria. Speakers include Dr. Mrs. Folashade Yemiesa, Acting Head of Service of the Federation, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, Director General,
National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies,
Enyi Odibo, Chairman, DDB Lagos. Special guest, Alhaji Lai Muhammad, Honorable Minister for Information and Culture. Participants, officials of federal and state ministries, departments and agencies with responsibilities for communications, media, corporate affairs, marketing, public relations, and digital engagements. Date: 28th and 29th of October 2019. Venue: Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center, Abuja. Time: 9 a.m. each day. For inquiries, please call 080-3314-5691. Announcer: Ijedi Iyoha, Acting Registrar, APCON.
The Quantity Surveyor Registration Board of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, present a day seminar. Theme: Effective Cost Management in the Oil and Gas Sector. Date: Tuesday, 29th October 2019. Time: 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Venue: PTDF Building, number 2 Memorial Close, opposite Shehu Yar'Adua Center, Central Area, Abuja. Special guest of honor: Timi Priye Silva, Honorable Minister of State, Minister of Petroleum Resources, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, Honorable Minister of Works and Housing. Lectures will be delivered on the following thematic issues: cost optimization optimization in the Nigerian oil sector by Roland O. Ewubare. Cost management issues in the oil and gas industry by Dr. Uche Ajato. Cost optimization in the Nigerian oil sector by Paul Magrat. Contextualizing the quantity surveying profession within the oil and gas industry by Professor Ahmed Doko Ibrahim. Cost engineering and cost control in the Nigeria oil and gas sector by Engineer Johnson Awuyomi. For inquiries and reservations, please call 08108 971 925. Muritala M. Aliu, President, QSRBN, and Dr. Bello Aliu Gusau, Executive Secretary, PTDF, announcers.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic.
There's me no panic.
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Press OK. Wow, now you fit catch all those channels will be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your groove for no loss. You see as I do, Abi? And I see as I do,
Go TV, live it, love it.
And I see as we do,
An award that has succeeded to pool a galaxy of stars from the north, south, east to the west, and central Africa, and also those that are domiciled beyond the shores of Africa under one roof.
This Saturday on the Premier League, the Hammers return to action as they take.
Oshibajo is urging Nigerians to see their cultural diversity as a weapon to unite the nation. He was speaking at a town hall meeting as part of celebration of NAFEST in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Goodluck Anani reports that the Vice President was also at the palace of the Oba of Benin, whose third-year coronation anniversary and birthday coincide with the festival.
As the National Festival for Arts and Culture holding in Benin gradually comes to a close, the Vice President's visit underscores federal government's determination to harness the nation's cultural diversity for national unity and development. He is at the Oba Akenzua Cultural Center for a dialogue. Speakers at the meeting want government to fully explore all avenues to make Nigerians' arts more visible in the global sphere.
We believe that within our tradition, we possess a culture of truth with which to positively change our future for the better.
Professor Shimbajo says government is handling this issue with all the seriousness it deserves.
We believe very strongly that arts and culture is the way that our country will be able to get the very best narratives. All of what we're seeing so far, all over the world, is a greater interest in Nigeria. And a lot of that interest has been demonstrated because of what our young men and women have been doing in entertainment. And also what many have been doing in Nollywood and so many other initiatives in arts and culture.
The Vice President was earlier at the palace of the Benin monarch to felicitate with him on his third-year anniversary on the throne. He was also at the National Museum where he interacted with pupils from some selected schools. The Vice President has since returned to Abuja. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NT News.
As more ministries and Parastatals continue to defend the budget at the National Assembly. The National Commission for Colleges of Education is requesting budgetary allocation for the payment of peculiar academic allowance and peculiar non-academic allowance for staff of colleges of education in the 2020 budget. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Bappa Aliu Muhammad, made the request while defending the Commission's budget before the National Assembly Joint Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
Management of more than 10 federal colleges of education moved into the National Assembly Friday morning as provost of these institutions accompanied the Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, Professor Bappa Aliu Muhammadu, for the Commission's 2020 budget defense. Out of the 1.5 billion naira budgeted for 2020, 23 million will be spent on publication of Nigerian Teachers Today Journal, while procurement of utility vehicles and remodeling of the Commission's Secretariat are to cost 70 million naira each. The Executive Secretary requested that 45 million naira be allocated to the Commission for its capacity building.
Consider and return the sum of 45 million for capacity building, and consider and return the computerization accounting records to 3 million.
We so believe that the changing the budget cycle of this country is so critical to so many things that would translate into good. So that's why we don't joke with this, and we are determined, and inshallah we are going to deliver on that.
Defending the 2020 budget of the Northeast Development Commission before the Senate Committee on Special Duties was the Commission's Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mohammed Goni Alkali. He gave justification for the 37.8 billion naira proposed for 2020 fiscal year.
And then we have some additional things which we added for the 2020. For instance, Mambila Hydro is a very critical thing that we need to be part of it, because there is at least a big chunk of local content which well coordinated going to enhance a lot of economic development and support our people there. So we are putting some money there. We are looking very high on infrastructure.
The committee implored the Commission to pay more attention to the reconstruction of the Northeast Zone, especially worship centers, and give locals sense of belonging.
Very important that we involve the local, the vigilantes, the civil JTF, the hunters, and what have you. I think we have to bring them in.
The Northeast Development Commission, among other issues, is expected to cater for the needs of the internally displaced persons camps in the 6 states of Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, and Yobe. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Unko, NTA News.
The House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence says there is a correlation between crime and unemployment. This, however, informed new efforts by the federal government on job creation for the theming youths to further curb security breaches. National Assembly correspondent reports that the committee had a budget defense session with key intelligence agencies where it stressed the need for more collaborations.
Finding lasting solutions to the various security challenges in some parts of the country, the committee believes would also boost the confidence of investors, as economic growth can only be achieved in a peaceful environment.
The current administration has brought the situation to the minimum levels due to the commendable intelligence effort of our security agencies. And we urge to continue to deliver your best in order to keep Nigeria safe and secure for even and rapid development in the country.
The chairman of the committee added that the increase in the budget envelope for the 4 major intelligence agencies, namely Department of State Security, Office of the National Security Advisor, the Presidential Air Fleet, and the National Intelligence Agency, from more than 120 billion naira for 2019 to 136 billion naira for 2020 is in line with the commitment of government to ensure effective management within the intelligence community. Committee members stressed that the National Assembly would on its part ensure enactment and modification of existing laws for improved intelligence gathering and sharing. Similarly, the House Committee on Aviation hosted agencies under the Aviation Ministry for the defense of their budgets. Chairman of the committee, Nolim Naji, urged the agencies to ensure that all documents requested are forwarded to the committee for proper scrutiny. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Now to judicial matters, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered that the former chairman of the Pension Reforms Tax Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, be remanded in correctional custody pending the commencement of his trial for alleged corrupt enrichment. The presiding judge, Justice Okon Agban, gave the order following the arraignment of Maina and his son, Faisal. Olabode Arewa reports.
Abdul Rashid Maina and his son Faisal were accused of laundering $3.7 million and 2.3 billion naira. The defendants pleaded not guilty to all the count charge preferred against them. Counsel to Maina, Ahmed Raji SAN, pleaded with the court to grant bail to his clients. Counsel to the EFCC, Salisu Abubakar, argued that the bail application for the first defendants was preemptive as it was filed before the arraignment. The court granted adjournment and ordered that Maina be remanded in correctional custody until the 30th of October, and his son Faisal was arraigned on 3 counts charge of allegedly concealing 230 million naira.
The court refused us to take in our bail, so motu, saying that once he has not been arraigned, we cannot file an application.
We were ready for the trial today, not because they objected. We have our witnesses involved.
Meanwhile, the court has dismissed the suit filed by the Center for Awareness and Justice, seeking to annul President Muhammadu Buhari's appointment of Ahmed Rufai Abubakar as the Director General of the National Intelligence Agency. Justice Okunabang held that the appointment was within the constitutional powers of the President. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Away from the judiciary to other matters, the need for the election management body, INEC, to deploy personnel that are familiar with the Bayelsa riverine terrain, especially at the supervisory level, was the thrust of a roundtable on INEC's preparedness for the successful conduct of November 16 Bayelsa governorship election. Timothy Yusuf reports that the roundtable was convened by the training and research organ of INEC, known as the Electoral Institute.
Many believe that Nigeria's experience over the years shows that democracy, especially its electoral processes, is not without its challenges, which often lead to unpalatable confrontations. This consideration necessitated this roundtable, saddled with the brief to facilitate a fundamental reorientation of prevailing political culture and behavior.
All the observations which we had from the 2019 elections, we are trying to test run all of them in these 2 elections. So these 2 elections are very special to us. Nigerians need to know that the commission is really not sleeping. We are doing all we can to improve the process. But the question now is this: are we the only ones who will work hard? The answer is no.
While every arrangement is expected to have been put in place for the conduct of a violence-free polls, the resident electoral commissioner in Bayelsa, Monday Udo Tom, says there are some other existing circumstances which may precipitate confrontations.
The quantity of drugs used in that area, drug use and drug abuse, is pushing these youths to do what they are not supposed to do ordinarily. So the topography of the area is a challenge.
The off-season governorship elections will be conducted in Bayelsa and Kogi states. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Activities marking the 6th convocation of Bayes University Abuja has commenced with a convocation lecture which was used to examine the post-Brexit UK-Nigeria relations. Kelvin Abonoe reports.
Negotiations and intrigues have characterized the UK Brexit deal as uncertainties still cloud the October 31st deadline set by Prime Minister Boris Johnson. What will happen to Britain's relations with many key allies, especially in trade, immigration and others, are source of concern to many, including Nigeria? This is what the British Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Gil Atkinson, provided answers to at the Bayes University 6th convocation lecture.
Our bilateral trade last year was £5.5 billion, and by 2030 it's forecast to be £7 billion. I strongly believe that it's in our interests to work together in partnership to better support the prosperity of both our countries.
For the university, it has been a fulfilling experience in providing not just an alternative, but an opportunity for young Nigerians to reach for the stars.
Our plan is that this university, in the very near future, will be one of the best universities in Africa and globally.
To the best of our knowledge, all our graduates are gainfully employed. CBN, banks, companies all across Nigeria.
This convocation, as the Vice Chancellor, Professor Tahir Maman, puts it, is like a show glass for Nigerians to peep into the kind of quality on offer at the Bayes University, Abuja.
We are giving the country the best in terms of quality of students and graduates and general environment, which is similar to what actually our students get abroad.
The 6th convocation of Bayes University will commence on Saturday, 26 October 2019, with lineup of exciting activities. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewunwaye, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. Let's pause here now and join Jennifer in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Jumai. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Lagos. Now, in pursuance of its mandate to rid the country of fake and low-quality products, the Standards Organization of Nigeria has confiscated substandard phone accessories worth more than 480 million naira in Lagos. Michael Olaleye reports.
In April this year, SON confiscated fake and substandard products worth more than 300 billion naira across the country. This is a sharp increase from the agency's seizure of about 22.7 billion substandard products around October last year, an indication that strengthening surveillance and intelligence by the agency to get rid of fake products continues to pay off. This recent feat of 450 million naira fake and substandard phone accessories, according to the Director of Inspectorate and Compliance, Obiora Manafa, is to ensure that consumers get value for hard-earned money spent on goods and services.
We are going to subject them to laboratory tests. After the tests, we have our process of destruction. Those that are supposed to be destroyed, we'll get the court orders and destroy them.
Nigeria, no doubt, is exploring opportunities in various fields of enterprises to grow its local economy, noting that importation of inferior products of this type is detrimental to encouraging domestic investments.
Create your own brand. You have the standard. Come to Sun, get the standard, produce in line with the requirements of the standard. People will buy your own. People will identify you with your own good brand.
The SON promised to identify importers of the substandard products while also advising Nigerians to seek direction and guidance from the agency to protect them from being victims of substandard products. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And on education, 96 students from across the country have been awarded secondary education scholarship under the 2019 Cradle to Career program of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company Limited, SNEPCO. Uduak Etim reports that the event held at Top Faith International Secondary School, Akwa Ibom State.
Aimed at providing academic excellence, the Cradle to Career Scholarship Program by NNPC and Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company Limited was launched in 2014. From 2014 to 2019, a total number of 471 students across Nigeria have benefited from the scholarship program, which offered boarding and tuition fees to beneficiaries throughout their secondary education. 9 students of Top Faith International Secondary School, Akwa Ibom State, were among the 5th set of beneficiaries, and 90 others are students from other top private secondary schools in Nigeria.
Access to quality education is just one of the offerings of NNPC and NEPCO. To further develop knowledge for lifelong learning, investment in education facilities and infrastructure is required.
We would continue to support educational programs in the country because we see it in 2 veins as a way of human capacity development, both for other sectors and industry, and also as a way of giving back to society.
For stakeholders, parents, and beneficiaries, the scholarship program is a right investment, particularly for less privileged to attain the height of their potentials.
Look for a lot of competitions and makes the school so interesting. This scheme has really helped her. NNPC SECO has brought us out of it. We say a big thank you to them.
National Cradle to Career Scholarship Program by NNPC and Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company Limited is targeted at providing access to quality education. From Esienudum local government area of Akwa Ibom State, Udwak Etum, NTN News.
That's a contribution from Lagos. Network News continues after this timeout. Stay with us.
Uze. Let me give phone to Smally, make I follow up.
Go. It's Wasiu, your former driver.
Hey! Wasiu! The video call! Oh, Kaka! Mommy! With my Glow 4G, I can now upload my cars online, sell, and make plenty profit. That's what they call me now, mommy. The new mega online car dealer.
Wasiu! Right now when the iron is hot.
See, we won't be like Shaki. I will come and meet you specially and bring one big one for you.
Why you won't see me?
Your daughter. I want to marry her.
You know well?
I've been wanting to know the Hello?
When Glow 4G day of you, confidence must stay body. Data is oxygen. Glow 4G, the new speed of life. Your number one 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow, the grandmasters of data.
Start your day easier and happier with LG Inverter. Gain peace of mind with an efficient laundry cycle. Feel cooler air even at midday without any worries. Enjoy mealtime with food kept fresh all day long. The LG Inverter enriches your everyday life. Better inverter, LG Inverter.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Good afternoon, ma. I need Cameroon pepper and anything more you think I can use for
Fine boy. What's your number?
Make and receive payments with just phone number with Pay Attitude. To get started, dial *569# or download the Pay Attitude app or use the USSD code of Pay Attitude banks to enjoy seamless transactions.
Here you go.
So, what's your number? Pay Attitude. Be all of you.
Darling, what's the matter? It's your birthday. Guests are already waiting at the pool.
It's headache, cold, pains all over my body.
Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet contains powerful ingredients specially prepared to bring you fast relief from headache, body ache, cough, flu, cold, and fever. Baby, how are you feeling now?
Wow, I feel great thanks to Cold Time Tablet.
Cold Time Tablet also available in syrup for children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, a quality product from Embassy Pharmaceutical and Chemicals Limited. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, your visa to...
This Saturday on the Premier League, the Hammers return to action as they take on Sheffield United.
The inspection of the second phase of the Brentex pipe mill in Calabar has been concluded. Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content and Development Monitoring Board, Mr. Simi Wabote, assures of the continued support for the manufacturing industry in the country to boost job creation. Ode Alenyo tells us more.
Brentex Petroleum Services Limited is a wholly owned Nigerian company. Driven by its business strategy, the company positioned itself to deliver internationally best acceptable services to government and other players within the oil and gas industry. The core business of Brentex involved the manufacturing of longitudinal submerged arch welded L-SAW line pipes and engineering, procurement and construction in the oil and gas industry. The first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa and the second in the entire continent, the pipe mill site is situated about 300 meters from the Calabar seaport, which will make logistics to location in Nigeria and abroad easy. Inspecting the second phase of Brentex L-SAW pipe mill site in Calabar, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content and Development Monitoring Board, Mr. Simbi Wabote, calls on local investors to ensure that the required standard of the Content Act is met.
Them to continue to want to invest, but they can only enjoy the privileges as contained in the Local Content Act when we see physical investment on site.
Vice Chairman Brentex Petroleum Services, Sani Abubakar, assures of the company's commitment to achieve set goals. Site engineer of the company, Patrick Aneje, explains the essence of work so far.
Now we are doing concluding the piling work, which is being done by Trevi Foundation. Certainly the best company that anybody could imagine around here for that kind of work.
We are not adulterated Nigerians, and we are doing what is at work.
Brentex Elso Pipe Mill is one of the 3 steel manufacturing industries constructing pipes for the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. The factory production line inspected has piles foundation of 1,211 underground, equivalent to 21.738 kilometers, with pile load tests good enough to stand the weight of equipment on completion of the superstructure. Brentex Elso Pipe Mill is expected to commence full operation by June 2021. In Calabar, Ode Alenyo, NTA News.
Now, for more reports on the news, Debabri is standing by in our Port Harcourt studio. Nice to see you, Debabri.
Thank you, Jumai, and welcome to Port Harcourt. As part of the activities marking the 4th edition of Operation Crocodile Smile in the Niger Delta region, the Nigerian Army 6th Division has embarked on a medical outreach to communities in Rivers State. Robinson Derataide has details.
The exercise, which also covers Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa and Delta states, is aimed at addressing emerging security threats to the economy and unity of the country. The medical outreach held at the Rumokoro Motor Park in Obiakwa local government area and Bolo community in Ogugbolo local government area, where patients were administered with free medications on minor ailments. Some of the beneficiaries and community leaders are appreciative of the gesture. The medical outreach continues. In Bolo community, Robinson Derataide, NTA News.
River State Governor Nyesom Wike has tasked the Nigerian Army to be focused in carrying out their traditional role of securing the territorial integrity of the country. The governor was speaking when he played host to the General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Jamil Sahar, at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogedinye completes the report.
Security of lives and property is paramount to the actualization of good governance. This was the focus of the address of the governor to the General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army.
I believe that it will be the beginning for us to work together for the interests of the state and the country at large.
General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Jamil Saham, said he is in Government House to inform the governor of the division's preparedness for the launch of exercise Crocodile Smile 4.
The purpose of the exercise is to build on successes of the past 3 editions, as well as ensuring total security. This will be achieved through identification and clearing of large points, criminal hideouts, as well as destruction of illegal oil bunkering camps in our joint area of responsibility.
In Port Harcourt, Ogedinye NTA News.
And that's our bit from Port Harcourt. Is back to Jumai for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Your information dey important, just like your identity. Now the only way we fit take hala you. Make you go browse easy.gotvafrica.com. Sign in with your IUC number and mobile number and scroll down to personal details and address. Then check well to see say everything bam. You fit change the one we not correct. To finish everything, just click the save button and it don't finish.
Thank you.
I make sure say my phone number dey correct. That's now why GoTV fit call me make I come collect my own awoof.
Angel, time for my phone in that way because now my correct phone number dey for book.
GoTV. Live it. Love it.
Now look me again, no. Make you go do your own.
The NTA and the Village Headmaster family are pleased to announce the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the award-winning Village Headmaster television series. Monday, 28 October 2019, command performances of the Village Headmaster at the Terraculture Arena, Victoria Island, Lagos. Red carpet, 5 p.m. and live performance, 6 p.m. Tuesday, 29th October 2019 at 10 a.m. Roundtable discussion at Freedom Park, Broad Street, Lagos. Theme: Drama, a tool for national development. Chief host Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, supported by the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Malam Yakubu Ibn Mohammed. Join the NTA and the Village Headmaster family as we celebrate this Golden Jubilee. Attendance at both events is strictly by invitation. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
You're watching NTA Network News. Sports Update is next.
President of Athletics Federation of Nigeria, Ibrahim Gusau, has commended Youth and Sports Development Minister Sanda Dare for the refund of IAAF's mistaken overpayment to the Federation in May 2017, saying that the gesture has not only restored the nation's integrity, but will also boost the nation's athletes as they bid for qualification to Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games.
From our next national trials, you see a better package national trials where every Nigerian athletes that would participate and compete for Nigeria will have to attend.
In basketball, Air Warriors celebrate their triumph in the 2019 National Women's Basketball League, which they clinched with a 55-53 points defeat of MFM Thursday in Lagos. All is set for the kickoff of the 18th edition of FIFA Men's Under-17 World Cup in Brazil Saturday, with 24 teams from 6 confederations in contention until November 17. Saturday will see the hosts in a cutting razor against Canada, while New Zealand play Angola in Group A. Also on Saturday in Group B, 5-time champions Nigeria begin their campaign with a game against Hungary, while Ecuador battle Australia. Nigeria's second match is against Ecuador October 29, with their last group game slated for November 1 against Australia. Kano Pillars Thursday emerged winners of the 2019 World Polio Day National Para-Soccer Tournament in Abuja, following a 2-1 victory over their Katsina counterparts in the final, with a brace from Idris Mohammed ensuring a record 5th title.
Anytime I meet Katsina, I'm 100% sure that I will beat Katsina.
Kaduna State beat Nasarawa State 1-0 on penalties in the third-place match, with the game having ended 2-2 in normal time, as cash prizes were awarded to outstanding teams. With Sports Update, Kenan Ima Abodike, NTA News.
And on a sad note, the death has been announced of Ambassador Kayode Tuesday Obajuloa, a retired diplomat. He was aged 66. Born in Oyo, Ondo State on the 28th of August 1953, and attended the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where he majored in French. He joined the Nigerian Foreign Service in 1981 as a second secretary. He had his first overseas posting to Benin Republic. Returning to the headquarters, he served at the Protocol Division Language Section before proceeding to the Nigerian mission in the then Yugoslavia as a senior officer. He later returned to the headquarters to head the language section of the Protocol Division, culminating in his headship of the entire Protocol Division. He proceeded to serve in our embassy in France. Ambassador Obajuloa ended his career as Nigeria's ambassador to Cote d'Ivoire, from where he retired from the Foreign Service in 2014. Now, a quick check on the weather prospect for Saturday.